Definitely be started, and then we will start. Yes, my talent knows no bounds. Come on, stream. Up you come. No, you don't want to. Okay, there we go. Right, well, hello everybody, it's vanburman here. Welcome to today's video. I'm going to talk about a comment that I received on my Chaos Drift video. Is that right? No, not that one. No. Yes, okay. Yeah, it was on my Chaos Drift video. And it was from a person who I will name. Natus95. And he wants to ask, or he's asking, something that I should know something about. How can an RPG Maker VX Ace game, or just RPG Maker game in general, I'm going to, expand it to, using RTP be on Kickstarter? I'm just wondering, though. I know it's legal, but it feels wrong. Okay, so I think what Natus is trying to ask is, he's trying to say, because it's such a easy, I'd use that in inverted commas, but easy platform to create games on. Is it right that, the program which you could have picked up for $1 the other day, is it right that people should want to put their game on Kickstarter for funding of the game they're going to make on RPG Maker? Okay, well, I see what he's saying. Yes, it's not illegal, Enterbrain give you the full rights to the game of whatever you use. You obviously can't change anything with the EXEs or any of the, the core makeup of the application itself. So, it is all legal in that sense. People are well within their rights to put the game on Kickstarter if they want to. But I do see what he's saying, because I understand that people want the highest quality stuff to be on Kickstarter. And we see it from games that aren't made in RPG Maker that perhaps they shouldn't be on there because they're not of high enough quality. So I don't think it is an issue that's purely in the RPG Maker bracket. It is game makers as a whole. They do have to make sure that what they're putting out is sufficient for, to actually be able to attain that funding. Now, in terms of whether it's ethical or not, I don't really, well, I did it, so I'm very biased, but I don't really see the problem. For example, I can create a game, but in order to make it as custom as possible, you need money for art assets. Now, that's the similar sort, and music and, what have you. But you're going to need that for whatever game you make. Whether it's used in RPG Maker or it's used with the CryEngine. You are going to need funding for that sort of stuff from somewhere. Now, yes, the RPG Maker assets are a lot more basic, but when someone like me, who can't make any of his own assets himself to any sort of standard that would be deemed acceptable for a game, they are going to need some extra funding in order to be able to get other people to produce that for them. So, while I do understand the basic, or the premise of the question that you've asked, I don't really agree. I think you have to judge each pitch on Kickstarter by its own merits. There's nothing wrong with you putting RPG Maker up on there, as long as you need the money for the right reasons, and as long as you can say as long as you can back up how much money you're going to need for what you're going to need it for. For example, the stage I'm at with the money is I've pretty much got all the art assets done, and it has cost me pretty much all of the budget that I've set out to do. Now, the other thing I've gone about doing is I've actually created a document which outlines where money has been spent and what it has been spent on. So when the game is released, if people so request it, there will be a spreadsheet, not outlining the transaction numbers or anything like that, just a basic overview of what it's gone to. And you'll be able to see transaction by transaction where money has gone in order to create which art asset. So for example, you might have Wilfred's sprite sheet and then how much it cost and when it was ordered. And that way, you know, there's transparency there and people can see that the money has been spent on that particular asset. So no, I don't think so. I think if you want to make a game as custom as possible, then you're going to need funding for it, and there's no way I would have been able to fund that myself or anyone else who's just a one-man team trying to make a Kickstarter game. Because, you know, there's a famous quote that says that every person has got a story in them. I truly believe that. So people sometimes need a bit of extra help to do it. And at the end of the day, if they don't get kickstarted, if they don't get funded on Kickstarter, there's obviously a reason why they haven't been funded. And you might not like to see it, but people are going to want to put their ideas out there. And some of them will be good enough that they will attract enough people, / enough money, in order to be able to fund it and actually get some funds to do it. Now, there's another thing I want to, slight variation on the question, is I've noticed by your YouTube name it's got 95 at the end, so I'm presuming that you're born in 1995, which will make you about 18 at the minute, or 17 or 18. Is that right? We're just going to go with 18. So, yeah. 18 nearly, could be 19. So, you're at a stage where, you know, Final Fantasy VII came out when you were 2. And those graphics, you would say, are far superior to that of the RPG Maker style. And I can understand why people can't get around that graphical impasse. But you've got to realise that there are a lot of older gamers, a lot of people who started off on, for example, Commodore 64s or, you know, Super Nintendos, stuff, anything that predates the Nintendo 64. And people that played Pokemon, of course, as well, when that came out in handheld. And those sort of people are going to be used to that style of graphic anyway. They're just there to experience a story and experience, you know, the new things that can be done through that. So, yeah, the answer to your question, I think I've said it before and I'll say it again, you have to look at it by a case-by-case basis and what people have said they want to spend their money on and just deal with it, you know, like that. Like I say, I've seen plenty of games on Kickstarter that haven't been made with RPG Maker and really shouldn't be up there because they've got absolutely nothing to them, not an inch of story, maybe about 30 seconds worth of gameplay. And it's a shame, really, because, you know, it could be a much better platform for people to share their ideas, and people who just put up a random RPG Maker game without any idea or structure on how they're going to go about doing it and what they're going to spend the money on to make it unique, then yes, of course, that in itself probably isn't that ethical. So yeah, hopefully, you know, that's answered your question. I would normally, you know, just do a written reply if it's a comment. Normally only inbox messages get a video, to be honest. But I think it's a general question that people will ask at various points anyway. And unless something major changes, then I can't see my answer changing on that one. So yeah, my advice, judge it on a case-by-case basis. If you don't like an RPG Maker game, if you don't like looking at RPG Maker games on Kickstarter, then just make sure you're not clicking on them to view and take an interest in. I guarantee you, though, there are a lot of people that are interested in that type of game because they're not bothered about the graphics, or they actually really appreciate those style of graphics. It's not an uncommon thing. But aside from that, thank you very much for watching, everybody. Hopefully, you know, that'll answer some people's questions or perhaps influence your thoughts on Kickstarter. But yeah, if you have any comments or you want to disagree with me, the comment section is down below. I'll read them and I will reply to them as best as possible. So I'll see you all next time, guys. Thank you very much for watching.